Herald Headlines with Daron Mann.
Looking at the headlines in today's issue of the Herald, Wednesday the 20th of October. Generation Z rolls up its sleeves. Health experts give green light to teen jab, but some parents on edge. They cannot legally obtain a driver's license, buy alcohol, or consent to employment. But as of today, South African children between the ages of 12 and 17 can line up for the COVID-19 vaccine with or without their parents' permission. Also on the front page of the Herald today, ex-Bay coach Dean Carlse hit with more charges. The pornography charges against former Nelson Mandela Bay water polo coach Dean Carlse come after he allegedly filmed an underage child twice and later groomed a child to engage in sexual acts. Carlse, aged 40, appeared in an Australian court yesterday where he faces 25 charges linked to child pornography and other crimes. For more on these and other stories, go to heraldlive.co.za. You could have been excused for thinking that Nelson Mandela Bay was a city at war last week. The area of Corsten was alight with vehicles being burnt out, both taxis and private vehicles, passers-by randomly firing handguns, and some with heavier ammunition, and the general public screaming and running for cover. This was the result of long-simmering tensions between traders and businessmen in the area and local taxi associations. We're trying to make sense of it. We want to make sure it doesn't happen again. These are not images we want beamed around the world of a city which still relies on tourism as the greatest driver to its collective prosperity. Joining us to talk about the topic from the Korsten Business Forum is Mr. Ashraf Limbada. Ashraf, a very good morning. Thank you for joining us. How are you doing today?
Good morning to everybody.
Ashraf, firstly, if I might ask, how many traders or businessmen do you represent as the Korsten Business Forum?
Well, it's the major part of Corsten. Most of the traders are situated in Durban Road. From Ablett Street at the bottom of Durban Road at the beginning till Cottrell Street. So it's the whole of Durban Road, and most of the traders are situated in Durban Road, which is the main trade zone, basically.
Now, when the violence broke out last week, where exactly were you, and how did you come to hear of it, and what action did you take?
Okay, Corsten has a reputation of being one of the most busiest and vibrant areas of Port Elizabeth. It's also been known as the trade zone for formerly non-white traders, basically, or the traders of the northern areas. So it's always had a lot of influx of people from all the areas, from all the surrounding areas coming into Durban Road to purchase fruit and veg and whatever ways they can get. Most of them come in via the taxis. Right? So what happened was it was an incident between a taxi driver and one of the pedestrians, a pedestrian, not another motor vehicle. So what happened was he bumped the pedestrian and basically wanted to speed off. The pedestrian held onto his mirror and that broke off. So what happened was he then went and fetched a couple of his buddies, taxi buddies, and came back to Corsten to cause pandemonium, basically. That's the root of it, basically.
Ashraf, that might have been the incident that sparked the violent scenes, but it would indicate surely that there are some deeper underlying tensions within the community, particularly the traders versus the taxi drivers.
Corsten has been, I personally, not the view of any other organization. My personal view is that because the Nelson Mandela Bay municipality has abandoned Corsten has been abandoned. There is no traffic policing, no visible traffic policing. You ask anybody that comes to Corsten, that trades in Corsten, when last have you seen a traffic policeman patrolling the area, checking that motor vehicles are following the rules of the road? That's the one issue. Then you have another issue where the taxis are not regulated, are not adequately regulated by the municipality. The potholes in Corsten, the security situation with regards to just general presence of criminals on the street, walking around, looking to do something, and the neglect generally by the municipality has led us to a position or a state in Corsten where we are basically at boiling point. This incident has nothing to do with xenophobia or any of those things. This is basically a pure neglect by the municipality, not having put proper rules and regulations in place. No, sorry. There are rules and regulations in place.
Just not being applied.
Just not being applied. Not enforced. No enforcement. And we as traders sit with this problem every single day. We have refuse dumped on the street. We have potholes in the middle of Durban Road, a busy road like Durban Road. We have potholes, huge potholes. About a month ago, our traders, we came together and said, listen, we cannot depend on the municipality. We have to do things by ourselves now. We actually gathered funds from the traders and started repairing potholes, which is totally unusual. For my view is that the municipality can regulate Newton Park, Warmer, Summerstrand, but why can't they do the same in Corsten?
Have you approached your ward councillor on this matter?
We've approached the ward councillor. We've approached the municipality. I've had meetings with the former mayor, the DA mayor, I can't remember his name.
Athol Trollip?
We've had meetings with Trollip. From Trollip's days, I've had meetings with the municipality. What they do is they just, okay, keep you quiet, send some cops, send some raids. That's it. The morning, afternoon, everything is back to normal again. It's back to the whole pandemonium of Corsten, the lawlessness. It's the wild west of Port Elizabeth.
Ashraf, tell me, when the violence broke out, where were the security forces during this? Did any arrive? What action did they take? Or were you just left to your own devices?
We were just left to our own devices, basically. We were left to protect ourselves. The way I understand it is the taxi drivers trying to restart the looting that happened a couple of months ago. Because why would they then come to Corsten, back to Corsten now, with petrol canisters and set cars alight? And try to burn shops. They actually basically tried to restart the looting that happened a couple of months ago.
There is a perception that it's the taxi drivers and owners versus Somalians, particularly Somalians. You mentioned xenophobia a little earlier. The truth is a little different, though. It's more than just Somalians against taxi owners, isn't it?
I would like the press to move away from the xenophobic thing about this foreigners and all those things. Corsten is a trade zone where we are all passionate about our livelihoods, and we will defend our livelihoods. This is what this is our bread and butter of the day. So we will not allow the taxi association, or I won't say taxi association, I'll rather just say taxi drivers, to come to Corsten and do whatever they please. They can knock pedestrians and ride away. They can park wherever they want to park. They can overload, and nothing is done. No law enforcement. Ask any taxi or ask any trader in Corsten, in the Cottrell Street area around where the taxis park, when last have you seen a municipal traffic officer doing patrols or checking licenses or checking overloading? Nothing. It's absent, completely absent. Go to Warmer, go to Newton Park, Summerstrand. There are traffic police all over, keeping law and order. Why is it that Corsten has been abandoned by the municipality? I'm saying straight out. The municipality has abandoned Corsten, and that is the reason that this could have happened in Corsten. This would not have happened in Warmer, not in Newton Park, definitely not in Summerstrand. So what's the problem here? Why is there some sort of holdback from the municipality when it comes to Corsten? We've had meetings. One gentleman from the municipality I've met, Mr. Malusi Andries, and he has tried and try, this is what we are told. He's trying to make effort to get Corsten together, but he's not getting the cooperation of the stakeholders in the municipality. That's the problem. So he's not getting full support from those in power that have the ability to set Corsten in order, basically.
That's extremely disappointing to hear. I would like to know, though, do we have any assurance, or do you feel any assurance that we won't have a similar outbreak in future? Are there peace talks, for example, taking place between the parties involved?
The situation could erupt today, tomorrow, any day, because of the sheer neglect by the municipality. Have they made a concerted effort to come in and say, listen, let's put law and order in place here? This will never happen. But at the rate that they are carrying on, or the treatment we're getting, the neglect we're getting from the municipality, this is bound to happen any day again, any day. So any little incident with a taxi and somebody else, and we try to correct the taxis, they become basically thugs. They go and fetch their taxi buddies and come and cause basically whatever they want to do. They basically call the shots in Corsten, as it is. So we must all fear, as traders, we must fear, because we don't want to have any incident with any taxi driver, because this could happen again. But I think what they miscalculated was that the people of Corsten will never stand still. We will never stand still. We will never see our businesses and our livelihoods being taken away from us, as it was a couple of months ago when shops were burnt and looted, and it was just chaos. That will never happen in Corsten. We, as the Korsten traders and the business owners, we will stand and we will defend our property.
The voice of Mr. Ashraf Limbada. He's from the Korsten Business Forum. Mr. Limbada, we thank you for your time and explanation this morning. We're also going to be catching up with Andile Andries, who's from the Nelson Mandela Bay Taxi Council, and hopefully with Ward Councillor for the area, Mr. Abraham Isaacs, during the course of the show.
Each one of us has a story to tell and a story to share. A story that deserves to be heard. A story that inspires, motivates, and gives people a reason to keep going. A story about our triumphs as individuals and as a team. A story about our humble beginnings and what the future holds for us. A story about our heritage and that which brings us together. It is these stories that connect us. The Herald. Whatever you live for, we live to tell that story for you.
Continuing our discussion now about the violence and lawlessness that erupted in Corsten in Nelson Mandela Bay last week, we're catching up with Mr. Andile Andries. He's from the Nelson Mandela Bay Taxi Council. By all accounts, this was an incident which took place between the taxis in the area and business in the area. Mr. Andries, thank you for joining us on Behind the Herald Headlines with Daron Mann. Has your day started off well?
Yes, no, it started well.
Last week was not so good, Mr. Andries. As residents of Nelson Mandela Bay, we saw burnt-out vehicles, we saw and heard gunshots being fired in the street, people running for cover, and at the heart of it were tensions between taxis and business owners in the Corsten area. Can you share with us your perspective on what the underlying tensions are and what happened from your point of view?
Yes, thank you very much. It's true what you are saying, that there were tensions between the taxi operators as well as the foreigners. We have met with the foreigners after the incident, which all of us by now, we all know what happened. We're told this thing started by the accident between the taxi operator as well as one of the foreigners. They ended up assaulting each other instead of reporting the accident. We then said, look, let's meet with the foreigners just to engage, because what we have seen as a taxi industry it's not right. And we then said it would be best if we can engage the foreigners, because in our view, we have seen what happened there is got a potential of spreading across the country.
Why are you so fixated on the fact that these might be foreigners? We spoke to Mr. Limbada from the Korsten Business Forum earlier, and he assures us that we're not just talking about foreigners, we're talking about South Africans of all races and creeds who trade in the Korsten area.
Yeah, you see, let me say this thing. The Corsten area, most especially the Durban Road where the incident happened, the 90% of the people who are doing business there is the Somalian, and yes, I think it's a Somalian. Remember when we arrived there, we met with a Somalian group. There was a guy who represents the Somalian guys from the association. So we have met him. That is what I'm saying. It's the foreigners. They may say the African, but in my view, they are from the Somalian.
But Mr. Andries, as modern South Africans, why does it matter where someone comes from? As long as they're behaving within the law and they're in the country legally, we should surely allow them to trade and treat them as equals.
Listen, we do not have a problem about their trading. We talk about what happened that resulted in the banning of vehicles and the banning of the shops. We are talking about the incident, what happened. We have said, look, as a taxi industry, we do not want what happened. So it is the responsibility of the leadership and the business people to make sure that this thing, it ends here. That is why we have taken the initiative to act urgently. Because in our view, we have seen this thing has got a potential of spreading across the country, and we didn't want that.
What will it take to end things right now? Are there peace talks currently taking place? How will we prevent this from happening again?
What we have said, look, guys, it's just unfortunate what happened. What we need to do, we need to not to take the law in our hands. Let's rather allow the law enforcement to investigate whatever happened and make sure they brought the perpetrators into the book of the law. That's what we have said, because we have said we've got a responsibility. We are all business people. We need to maintain a peace amongst ourselves.
Are you happy with the level of law enforcement in the Corsten area currently, and also with other aspects of service delivery, such as the removal of litter and potholes being fixed and light bulbs being fixed, for example?
I must say I am very much happy, because they have the police, the law enforcement. I saw that even the minister himself were present in our engagement. They have assured us they will make sure that all those perpetrators, they will arrest them. So I am happy with that, what is happening currently. And as a taxi industry, we leave everything to the law enforcement. So I am happy.
Final question for you, Mr. Andries. Are you satisfied that there is sufficient discipline within the various taxi organizations and councils that serve Nelson Mandela Bay?
There is a discipline. There is a discipline, say. It's a matter of, you see, the incident we are talking about, that is what I'm saying, is that unfortunate. Because this thing started by two people when they had an accident. And both of them, they should have reported the accident. There was no point of fighting over an accident. So, on our side, we might have our mistakes as a taxi industry, but we are trying all our best to install discipline amongst the taxi operators.
Mr. Andile Andries from the Nelson Mandela Bay Taxi Council, thank you very much for joining us on Behind the Herald Headlines with Daron Mann today. We look forward to peace breaking out and not again seeing the sort of scenes that the world saw from Corsten last week. Have yourself a good day. We're joined now by the ward councillor for the area of Nelson Mandela Bay, which includes Corsten, where the violence flared up between taxi owners and drivers and local traders and business folk last week. Mr. Abraham Isaacs, we welcome you to the podcast, and we ask you to begin with whether you'll confirm for us your political allegiance and whether you will be standing for re-election come the 1st of November when local government elections roll around again.
Morning, Daron. Thanks for inviting me. I'm Councillor Abraham Isaac of Short of Corsten, Ward 11. I'm supporting a Democratic Alliance as a member of the party, but I'm not returning back as a councillor in Nelson Mandela Bay. That is my first question.
Mr. Isaacs, your comments on what happened in Corsten last week. It happened on your watch as councillor for the area.
Yes, Daron, it was so uncalled for. But I believe, according to the information I received, I wasn't at the scene. I've just received the information when they start burning. It actually starting at Green Acres, you understand, where a taxi or a car bumped each other. And it came down to the taxi rank, you understand, in Durban Road. So basically what actually happened, there was a confrontation from the taxi driver and the owner of the Audi. And they couldn't reach consensus and agreement based on what happened up there by Green Acres side. And then when some of the bystanders get involved and it escalates where they start throwing stones and things like that, in Durban Road, and it moved to the taxi rank where other people get involved there. You understand? That is where 3 taxis start burning and the Audi was already put on fire. So based on that, I couldn't, but I've just actually do my duty to call the police to get involved there, you understand? Because it just became a crime scene now.
Are you satisfied with the current service levels in terms of law enforcement, which is being received by the Corsten area?
Well, in the first place, Daron, I cannot call the shot for South Africa Police, but we in the Nelson Mandela Bay, with the majority lead, we work close with our bylaw enforcement, which is the Metro Police and the traffic law enforcement, which they also responded to, understand, but SAPS had to intervene there. And our Metro security is yet to make sure that it's safe enough for the police to operate and to do what they're supposed to do. But I wasn't quite happy for what happened and escalated further.
There have also been a number of allegations that service delivery in general in Corsten is bad. We're talking about litter piling up, we're talking about potholes and the like not being repaired.
I fully agree. I'm not accepting the point, you understand, where people are pointing fingers to the situation in Durban Road where dirt and fault and everything happened there. But that's out of control because I tried to get a meeting with the business people there and the traders out there. Somewhere we managed the informal traders there, you understand, and to try to keep the place clean. But it happened during the day where people just do as they wish in Durban Road. So that is the current problem. We clean in the day, we clean at night, especially in the morning, it's clean again. And then during the day, the folks start piling up again. From outside the shops, it comes and you just park it anywhere in the pavement.
Mr. Isaacs, have you been involved in peace talks, personally, between the parties involved?
Not on that moment in time before that happened last week, Daron. We did try, but we couldn't get all parties on board to have that the talk of engagement.
And finally, if we might ask how you think we can prevent this sort of thing from happening in the future.
Well, Daron, according to my information, there was engagement with some leadership from the business and the taxi association, and they got it currently under control. You understand? I spoke to the St. Albans taxi guys, and they were also invited just to that intervention of resolving the issue that it not escalate any further as was from last week.
That was today's edition of Behind the Herald Headlines with Daron Mann.